Right, what's going on? Super coaches, the SC World Cup comp. Solo show today, as you can tell. Still the only analyst yet to miss a show. Just proves my durability and consistency, I think. One of our co-hosts came down with meningococcal or something like that. I don't know. The rumour is that he was going around Sydney last weekend just kissing anything that walks. So our current studio is Ground Base Zero for a disease outbreak. So, we've had to evacuate that. The hazmat team is in cleaning it out now. Trent is currently locked away in his room like it's 2021 again, isolating and that, so couldn't go there. And the other co-host, young Daniel, he just no-showed, just gave us nothing. I asked if we were all available to film, and heard absolutely nothing from from Dan rather. It's just me today. So I'm not sure how long this will go for and how long I can talk without driving myself insane. But I'm a man of the people, and I'm happy to give the people what they want. So I guess we'll kick off with the ladder. Obviously, a lot of changes recently, particularly in the bottom half of the 8. It's as the coach of the Butter Bandit said, it's the trenches. It's warfare in there. There's changes every single week, it's not very pretty. But kicking us off at the top, still unchanged, the Trenos Titans, 2 wins clear. So he has lost 2 on the trot, potentially pretty concerning. We said to him, don't get in the habit of losing because it's a hard habit to break. He's now dropped 2 games, bye week footy the other week, but still dropping a game to the Dons Dongs, who weren't able to score 1,000 points this week, is massively concerning. And then this week to the Oakland A's, who the coach of the Trenos Titans has called a pretender. He wasn't a big fan of him winning the minor premiership last year, drops a game to him. Potentially could be a back half slide. We all know the Trenos Titans is good for a finals bow out. He has won the minor premiership and gone out in straight sets before. Has never won a grand final, lost plenty of grand finals. So this could be the start of the unravelling, and I don't think anyone would be very shocked to hear that. Second place, the Harry Dogs, 3-2 in their last 5, moves back up into second. A good season. Obviously it's a good season. He's 14-5. Is he a contender? We'll have to wait and see. He has had a very, very easy run. And I think he may struggle towards the back end of the year, but end of the day, he's sitting second. So that's that. David's team, 13-6, 3-2 in their last 5. They've been thereabouts all year, so not too shocked. He has moved up 1 spot from 4th to 3rd this week. You'd expect him to probably finish top 4. I think the top 4 is pretty set. When you round it out with the Grizzly Raiders, who are in 4th, I think that is a pretty set top 4. Potentially, you could see a David's team slide out. I believe they have a pretty tough run to finish the year. But for me, I'm pretty comfy to say that will be the 4 to finish the year. The Grizzly Raiders slid down 2 spots, down to 4th this week. They were 5-0 before this, I believe, but dropped a game to the Copy Captains this week. So that was maybe a bit of an upset, but you expect the Grizzly Raiders to finish the year strong. The Bedwetter he was on a fucking slide for a bit there. He wasn't looking good for a while, but he has steadied the ship. Still sitting in 5th, the 3-2 record in the last 5. Lost this week by the looks of things, which doesn't help, but still sitting 5th. 6th place, the Cardi Party, currently leading the total points scored as well. I think this is a year where the Cardi Party would be very frustrated. Like, to be sitting top total points scored, I believe, I'll have a look where he's ranked overall. Ranked 3,400th overall in the country. I know overall doesn't mean everything, but that's still a really, really solid season. Has just dropped some games where he's come up against teams that are just having a blinder. So this realistically could be a minor premiership year for the Cardi Party. He just hasn't been able to get it done in the big games. So sitting sixth, like at the end of the day, still in the eighth, and will be thereabouts, and probably will be a major threat. Seventh, the Butter Bandit, 10-1-8 record, 4-1 in his last 5. Look, that the draw he had with, I believe it was a shitter. It was like Brock or something. So, it was with a non-factor. To be fair, it was a draw when he was going like a busted. But that draw is going to come back to bite him. Like, he could be sitting with an extra win right now, tied with points for the Cardi Party, and would be tough to get out of the 8. But because he shit the bed against Brock, it's put him in a pretty sketchy sort of position. But look, it has been one of the all-time turnarounds from the Butter Bandit, so you got to give him credit where it's due. There was a point in the season where he was probably looking like getting sacked, and put in coach of a Super League side, or like, I don't know, maybe transition over to AFL Super Coach or something like that. But nonetheless, he has turned the season around, and sitting 7th. 8th spot, back into the 8. The Copy Captains, 10-9 record. Look, there's been plenty of headlines around this team. It's been a very turbulent sort of season, but they are a classy outfit at the end of the day. 2nd in total points scored, so very much like the Cardi Party. If a few unlucky things sort of go their way, they could be seriously looking at a top 4 finish, but unfortunately that's not the way it goes in this league. Sitting 8th and very nervous. Very nervous. 9th, this cunt is finally out of the top 8, Adam O'Brien. Look, I think a lot of coaches can agree that he does not belong in the 8. He's a massive pretender in there. His team is like significantly worse than everyone else's team, but he just keeps getting wins. He did fall this week, and that took him out of the 8. I am not entirely sure what his run home looks like, but I imagine it's going to be pretty tough, like with that team. No matter who he's playing, his team's simply not good enough to guarantee a win on any given week. So, look, falling out of the 8 is the last thing that this team needed, because I think it could be tough to get back in there. 10th, the Dons Dongs. Look, he was in there for like a second. He was in the 8 for a second, and I'm sure he took plenty of screenshots of it to let everyone know. But at the end of the day, this team isn't a top 8 side. The coach is currently facing like allegations for kiddie fiddling. He's been hanging out with Brett Finch. Look, I think it's probably going to be a bit tough to make it into the 8 for this side, but who knows, stranger things have happened. He has one of those teams that could just beat you on any week. Apologies for the grandfather clock in the background. Just let that play out for a second. Moving on, the Oakland A's. God, that's fucking loud, eh? Alright, there we go. It's over. Moving on, the Oakland A's sitting in 11th. Now, this team has turned it around a bit. They just knocked off the top of the table Trenos Titans in a it's still technically bye footy, but there was only 3 teams on the bye. Like, there's no excuse for the Trenos Titans to be dropping this game unless he wants to put the blame on the all-time bender he went on, which is a poor excuse, a shit excuse, but you know what he's like. He will probably point fingers at anyone but himself. So, yeah, the Oakland A's sitting here at 11th. Now, I do think this team can scrape into finals. Jordan has been admitted to a mental hospital. He was going insane. Some of the coaching decisions he was making were just a man that was desperate for wins. And some of the picks are finally turning around. Like Nick Meaney, he brought him in after his huge score. And now with Pappy, Nick Meaney had a 61 on the weekend. Pappy now misses another week. That's another week of fullback for Nick Meaney, where he does score well, and obviously takes the goal kicking. So, like, some picks like that have turned in his favour. And I think that depending on his run home, I'll have a quick look. So depending on his run home, round 20 this week, he has got the Harry Dogs. Next week is Bilbo's Mother Hot and Up the Guts. So, like, very well could go 3 for 3 in those, which is absolutely huge if that happens. He could find his way sneaking into the 8. He's kept under the headlines a little bit in the last couple of weeks. I think everyone just sort of agreed that he was shit. So I think that that's working in his favour. So yeah, good on you. The doggies, the other doggies, the other Harris of the Scott variety, 9 and 10 dropped a bad game this week. Look, I think that probably wraps on the year. Yeah, I think that's probably going to do it. Unfortunately, he got off to a flyer at the start of the year, if you remember. There was a streak. He went on like a 5 win streak. He was in the 8. He was looking good, and then just fell to pieces. Yeah, it all sort of started. He traded in someone weird. Can't remember who it is off the top of my head, but like you look at his like that is the worst CTWs I've ever seen. But I'll touch on the teams when we do matchups. Best on field jumps up 3 spots this week. 8 and 11, season's over. Thanks for playing. Waltzing Matildas drops down a spot. 8 and 11, 1 and 4 in his last 5. Thanks for playing. Brock, Bilbo's Mother Hot. Still no plural on the S. I don't even think you call it a plural. You just call it an S. But anyway, season's over. 15 league points. Cinderella Man, 16th. This is sad to see. He made a climb for a while there, and he looked like a promising young star. But came back down to earth a bit in the second half of the year. I do think next year this will be a team to look out for if he doesn't get deterred by the outcome of this year. I think next year he could, he probably wins Rookie of the Year this year, and next year, second year player, he could absolutely explode. So definitely look out for him. 17th and 18th is just Dumb and Dumber. Up the Guts and Hey Ho, let's go. Don't need to talk about them. Their season was over in week 3. So moving on to the results from last round. It was a very interesting round, actually. We'll kick it off here with the Butter Bandit topping off Adam O'Brien. Pause. Butter Bandit gets what's that, like I'm not great at math. That's like a 90-point win or something. So, yeah, he started off with the captaincy on Herbie. He said, fuck the VC. I'm just going straight for a Thursday night captaincy. And look, before updates, it hadn't really paid off. He only had an 80, which isn't like, that's a fine captain score, but like that's not ideal. Like you want more, especially in a big game. And then Herbie decides to update 25 points. 25 points in updates is crazy, especially when you have him as a unique captain. Like, as soon as that happens, that's like almost game over. Like that's a 50-point swing right there. So, yeah, moving on. Adam Fanua Blake, 39. He's been a little bit underwhelming the last few weeks, I feel, AFB. I haven't paid too much attention to him. Well, there's no need to pay attention to him when you got Haas, May, and Tino. But how did he go sort of through the bye period? So I'm working on the slowest laptop ever. 39, 52, 69, 76, 56, 55. So like, not bad. There's a few decent scores in there. A lot of 50s, and like from a front rower, especially in years gone by, you take a 50. But in 2025, when it's been the year of the front rower, you're probably a bit upset with just 50s actually. But a 39 this week was fucking awful. I didn't watch too much of this game, so I can't really comment on it too much. But yeah, that's not good enough. Teddy, 84. He updated to 84. I think he was on 70 odd pre-update, so that's definitely handy. I think he's probably a must-have in the fullback spot. Actually, I'll see what he's for. I'll show you this. I'll let you know a secret. Copy captains have gone through and made an Excel spreadsheet with player ownership for the year amongst our league. So if I look at Teddy, so I'll just give you a look. So like players in red are owned by more than 50% of the comp, yellows anywhere between 25 and 25 and 50, and then greens a pod, so under 25%. That's like 4 players out of the 18. I think that qualifies for a pod. But if I scroll down to James Tedesco, yeah, he's owned by 15 coaches, so 83% of the league. So I imagine the last couple of people without him are... Yeah, so we got Bilbo's Mother Hot, who does not own Teddy, and Up the Guts, who does not own Teddy. So... Oh, maybe that's wrong. No, sorry, I miscounted. I am bad at math. 3 coaches don't have him. So Up the Guts, Hey Ho, Let's Go, and Bilbo's Mother Hot. So all good and normal super coaches have him, which is definitely fair enough. Moving on, Lycan King Togear, 34 with an AE, whatever. Purdue, 33. Bit of a fall off for him recently. Probably has to get rid of him. I imagine he probably has a high break even. No, 42. What the hell? He's back down to 390k. What a fall off that has been. He was like fucking almost 600k at one point. He was 630k at one point this year, and now he's sub 400. Yeah, especially now he's back in the centres as well. You fuck him off. Aaron Clark, what a player he's been this year. Aaron Clark has been outstanding. Sorry, this chair's super squeaky. Yeah, Aaron Clark has been fucking really good. 78. Believe you put Chanel Harris-Tavita over for a try. So, yeah, he has those attacking stats in him and just unreal base. His PPM is fucking crazy. How many minutes did he play? Aaron Clark played... Let's have a look. 59 minutes, I believe. So 59 minutes is a concern. But I guess if you're still putting out 78 points, like who gives a fuck? If his minutes drop off, I'd be a bit worried. Maybe I wouldn't. Like, he bases so well. I think Aaron Clark's just such a safe pick that you can't be too upset with him. Wade Egan, 55, sure. Lomax was good with an 86. He just is a super coach gun. Like, he just finds... every time he runs, he gets those bumper bars up and bumps cunts out of the way. So he is fucking handy. Tino, 70. Yeah, Tino will be back to close to 80 minutes very soon. So he's at a discounted rate. If you don't have him, get him. But yeah, so really it was just looking at Adam O'Brien. He had a ton from Hughes, a 60 from Meaney, and then besides that, just a lot of shit, like a lot of 40s to 50s, which will not get you wins, 40s and 50s, unfortunately. So 11.33, I feel like this was a pretty big week. 11.33 is probably a bit under par. So that's definitely a concern for the Butter Bandit. 1061 for Adam O'Brien. That's just that's abysmal. That's why he shouldn't be in the 8. And why I expect him to not regain his spot in the 8. Moving on, Bedwetter, Waltzing Matildas. Waltzing Matildas put up a fight this week. Put up a big fight. But the Bedwetter just too classy. A Hughes ton. A fucking Billy Smith ton. Waltzing Matildas with Adam Dewey with a 110. Shout out to Adam Dewey. I think if you have Adam Dewey at this time of the year, that is a really, really good example of why you are in the bottom half of the ladder. Like, seriously. Jack Williams, 57, sure. Iongi, 71. He's still doing the thing. I think Iongi is going to be a seriously good, a seriously good fullback for Supercoach going into the future. Like, just the way that he plays, I'd love to just have a look at what his actual... So he had a 71 with no try assist. He had 8 points in offloads, so two offloads, which is good. He had a line break, no line break assist. Like, he had 18 points in tackle breaks. So I think tackle breaks are worth 2, so 9 tackle breaks. Like, he passes the eye test for Supercoach, and just in general, he's a fucking good footy player. So a 3-round average of would it be almost 90 odd, I believe. Fuck, where'd he go? I lost him. There he is. Where's Iongi? 3-round average of 87 and a 5-round of 71. So that's definitely one to keep on the radar for the future. Potential, pod to start next year or something. Halasima, this is my favourite young back rower at the moment. I think this guy is a fucking freak. And if you aren't aware of Leka Halasima, do your fucking homework, because this guy is going to be a nightmare for years to come. Like, he reminds me of Eli Katoa in the way that he runs the footy and competes for kicks, but he has more like flashy stuff than Eli Katoa. Like, the try he scored, he was on the wing, literally standing still, and just fucking threw whoever it was to the side like a fucking doll and strolled in. Like, he is so good and one to keep an eye on. Bedwetter had Tuivasa-Sheck, who I pointed out as a pod to finish the year. Warriors have a fucking soft run, and he's currently owned by 3 coaches in the league, I believe, as of last week, pre-lockout. RTS, owned by three coaches. So I believe it is the Copy Captains, the Harry Dogs, and the Bedwetter. So, yeah, great pod. Obviously, we know Roger's history. He's a tackle break machine, and he just loves getting dirty. He loves taking tough runs. The Warriors love scoring through him. I think he's a really good pick. And I actually might cut this bit of the pod out because I don't want people to know about him. So, yeah. Brimo, 45 for the Bedwetter. Yeah, I believe he's the only coach in the league that owns Brimo. Yeah, he's the only coach in the league that owns AJ Brimson, and that's exactly why. 45 is not good enough. Kearney, Walter Matildas was valiant in defeat, I think, but the Bedwetter simply too strong. That's it. Oh, I can't wait to talk about this game. The Oakland A's tops the Trentos Titans, makes him his bitch. The Trentos Titans get fucking slammed by almost 50 points. He was down, he lost a player because he's fucking shit and can't field a full side. He had Herbie Tunnup as a unique. Was still playing Savala this week. Mate, it was time to hop off Savala last week. Don't know what you're doing still playing him. Marky Mark, 30. Yeah, it's unlucky. Preston, 67. That's tough. Lomax, 86. He also had Cleary with the reserve on him. Cleary potentially wasn't even going to play. Like, even though he got named on the... Like, he wasn't on the bench at first. He got brought onto the bench. And they were concerned... Like, in the commentary, they were saying he might not even get on the field if Penrith get off to a hot start. So, Toronto Titans could have been seriously undermanned this week. Doesn't help when you got Sam Stevenson on your bench. Anyone heard of Sam Stevenson before? I haven't. I don't think the Trendos Titans have. Des probably hasn't, and he plays for the Titans. But yeah, Sam Stevenson just a shit pick, shit enough. So yeah, he gets absolutely humped. The Oakland A's have just a lot of solid scores. Like a Billy Smith ton's obviously lucky, and I just know that the Trendos Titans will be seething listening to me talk right now, probably screaming at his phone, spitting all over himself, going, "Oh, fucking, the Oakland A's had a 105 from Billy Smith." I don't care. Billy Smith's that guy. Billy Smith gets a 105, Burton 64, Kikau 42. Kikau has these games in him where he doesn't base particularly well for a back rower, so he does have pretty low scores in him, and 42 is honestly probably a good score on a night where he saw fuck all pill. You take it with a grain of salt, but I think the Dogs have a shitter this week, don't they? Yeah, they have the Dragons, so Kikau could just single-handedly bend the Dragons over and fuck them. So I wouldn't be concerned about that Kikau score. But yeah, that's sort of it for the uniques. Both teams had Hines VC'd. How good was it to see Hines just stand up and carve up again? I feel like it's been a while since we saw that. A big score. I think he's been playing good footy this year, and underrated footy. Especially when he has that tall Braden Trindle in the halves with him, just demanding every pill, thinking he's fucking Jonathan Thurston. They both had Hines VC, and all their uniques were relatively, all their commons were relatively shit. Katoa was good, but he's always fucking good. Dill Lucas, out for the year. I think there's a few good options to go to from Dylan Lucas. You can downgrade him to Angus Crichton currently. However, the Chooks do have a tough run home. So I don't particularly like Crichton just because of the run home, and at the end of the day, he hasn't been a world beater this year like last year. Definitely don't get him this week with Chatty T in the heart. Chatty T and Sam Walker's obviously good, but Chatty T just scares me in the halves. I don't know what the fuck the Roosters are thinking. I'd love to hear the opinions of our Roosters fans on what you think about Chatty T coming into the side over Sandon Smith. Has Sandon potentially signed somewhere else, and that's why they're doing it? Not too sure. But yeah, Scotty Drink downgraded to a 49, which is tough. I believe he was also held up in goal by Kikau, so could have gone big, so that 49 doesn't concern me at all. Especially with Scotty Drink years gone by. When he plays a top defensive side like the Dogs in years gone by, he can go sub 15. But he's just been breaking tackles and just racks up so many line breaks. He just always manages to find himself in space. And obviously he just throws divine fucking seed. So some of the balls he throws are so nice. So I don't stress about Scotty Drink. In fact, his break even probably rises to a 110 against the Finns. So if you don't have him for whatever reason, you potentially could fade him this week against the Finns, hope he goes under and get him at a discounted rate the following week. But yeah, I think if you don't have Scotty Drink going into finals, you're cooked. Anyway, that was just fantastic to see the Trendos Titans lose. He's the number one villain in the league. He is also riddled with STDs at the moment. and yeah, sounds like he was on his deathbed. So, get well soon. But at the same time, I hope you're absolutely miserable, just shit coming out of both ends, because you deserve it after the amount of shit you have talked about being top of the table this year. Moving on, Doggies versus the Cardi Party. Just a flogging in the end. 160 points. So an absolute arse whooping. The Cardi Party fires yet again. Nothing too crazy in this game. Rob Derby comes back down to earth for the Doggies, scoring a 49. There's not too much to talk about from the Doggies. Dill Brown with the 17. To me, it looks like Dill Brown may as well be out the door. He's 18th man this week. All he can think about right now is probably the Wharf down in Newcastle there. Thinking about the Wharf, thinking about all the Newcastle uni chicks, and thinking about how many people he's going to shag in the bathrooms of Newcastle nightclubs. So footy is the last thing on his mind right now, especially when Riles tells him, mate, you're the best half of the club right now with Moses out, so we're going to put you in at hooker. And if you don't like it, you can sit on the bench. And sat on the bench he did. Moving on to the Cardi Party, Teddy, captaincy. I think that was the safe choice this week, and he delivered relatively. Pretty stock standard team from the Cardi Party. Jaden Campbell with a 59. JC he honestly didn't do too much in terms of attack, and he's still got a 59, which is really, really fucking good for a half. He's, for me, the number one halfback for the year. He's also fucking 530k right now because of that 8 in his break even, in his rolling average. His break even's 113. So they play the Tigers this week. He very easily could go over 113. His last 2 games against them have been 77 and 76. So yeah, that's under 113. But I feel like Jaden Campbell this year has gone to a bit of a new level. So I seriously could see that getting smashed out of the park. He has big ceilings in him. I know he scored a 180 last year or something. Even this year, what's his top score? 117. Oh, yeah, 117 is his highest. So he has hit that mark before this year. He could very easily go up. But if you don't have him and you want to run the risk, you can hold off on him for a week and you can potentially get him under 500k, which is fucking bonkers. And yeah, if he's under 500k next week, you sell whoever you need to get him, because you're not going to get him that cheap. If you have a Matt Burton or something like that, you sell Matt Burton to him for sure, and make cash and get a better player. So yeah, that's it. Just dominant from the Cardi Party. Moving on, the Harry Dogs, fucking humps, just skull fucks. He has put a sheet over the Don's Dong's head and skull fucked him. 1,242 to 931. He was the only coach that isn't named Mick or Kobe to score under 1,000, which in round 19 is fucking abysmal. Seriously bad. Harry Dogs had Blake Brayley score a 117, he is seriously a good footy player. And I know Connor Watson and Reece Robson have no need to get dropped from the Blues side. I think they're both super serviceable for the Blues and actually complement each other well. Robson's very just sort of a straight shooter, will just give good pill, will tackle his dick off in that big fucking burly barrel chest of his. And Connor Watson's just a spark, a massive spark plug. He's like Lou Williams, if you're an NBA fan. So I don't think you put Brayley in Origin over either of those two, but Blake Brayley, if he did get picked for Origin, I'd feel very comfortable with him. He is a defensive machine, and he just probes around the ruck really, really well, and he manages to poke his head through the line so often. Like, how many line breaks did he have in this score? I feel like it would have to be... He'd have to have a couple in there. Let me have a look. So... Oh, God, this computer is fucking shit. So he had 2 try assists, which is just really, really good for a hooker. And... Oh, he had one line break and 2 line break assists, which you'd assume were from the tries. So, yeah, but like, I actually just am a complete shit talker, hey. I've just looked at his line breaks for the year and he's made 4, which, you know, is elite for a hooker, but I was talking like he made a line break in every game. So, yeah, so... Brayley is a gun. If you don't have Watson, I would be inclined to go to Brayley. What's his price? $660. He bases well, so he is going to be a safe pick, but $660K is so much money, especially when I believe Connor Watson is actually cheaper at the moment. Even Harry Grant, like, you have the upside of Harry Grant. He is a pod in the league. Daniel is the only coach in the league to own Blake Brayley right now. He can thank David for that. We were sitting down doing a pod one time and Daniel saw Blake Brayley in David's team and thought, that's a really good pick. I really like Brayley. I'm going to get him. He got Brayley and, just straight up copied Dave. So he can't think for himself. He's a sheep. He has a monkey brain. And yeah, so that's probably it for that game. I will touch on the Dongs. I don't even really know where to start. Like, Billy Burns in round 19. We have Billy Burns running around. He scored a 14. Billy Burns. Like... Ah, God. That's a bad pick. Not as bad as this. Matt Eisenhuth. Matt Eisenhuth has joined the team. What? Why? Coming off the bench? Like, that's a coach that doesn't care about Supercoach anymore. He's more caring about getting done by the police for fiddling with children, because that's what he does on his camp. But like, I honestly, like, it makes me sad. I feel bad for this coach. You have Matt Eisenhuth walking around your locker room. Like, what's he going to bring to the team? You're fighting for a final spot. Teddy's doing everything he can to drag this team to finals. And when he's giving the pre-game speech, he's looking Matt Eisenhuth in the eyes. Like, that doesn't fill me with confidence. That wouldn't fill Teddy with confidence. That's just a bad pick, and I can't believe they've signed him. Anyway, moving on. Famous victory here. The Copy Captains keep their season alive by, in the end, dusting the Grizzly Raiders by 100 points. Look, this just came down to Ezra Mam and Josiah Karapani shitting the bed. Like, it was almost all sealed up for the Grizzly Raiders going into that final game. I think they needed to combine for 60-odd points. Obviously, updates did hit. That's what blew the lead out. But they only needed to combine for... It wasn't much. And they couldn't get it done against the Titans, who fucking suck. Oh, man. Sorry. So looking through, Herbie with a 105, Teddy 160. We touched on a lot of these guys. Celesi Feketi with a 50. He was a panic buy for the Copy Captains the other week. down on players against Scott. Needed a number, but also didn't have the money to go to someone big. So Celesi Fiketti recently got 80 minutes on the edge and looked pretty good. He had back-to-back 70s. He had a negative break even. So despite the pick not being sexy, like it doesn't turn me on at all. He's already made 60. Like he's made 60K in the brief time he's joined the Copy Captains. He has a break even of 50. He actually bases pretty well, and he has a bit of footwork which I like. So he could potentially find the try line. So he was sort of brought in just to fill out some numbers and hopefully make a tiny bit of cash for later on down the line if there's an injury. But who knows? Like if he finds his feet this week, like it could be someone that just sits there on the bench, but most likely not. I don't really want to go into the grand final with Celesi Fiketti on my bench. Yeah, ignore everything I said. Ignore all that. But Celesi Fiketti is good. Everyone else for the Copy Captains we've sort of touched on. Terrell May, interestingly, had his lowest minutes for the year. It seems like those countless 80-minute games in the fucking front row have finally caught up to the big fella. Like, I wouldn't shock me if they sort of ease off on that for the rest of the year with the season starting to wind down, and especially winding down for the Tigers, who still suck, which is just great to see. With their season sort of coming to an end, it wouldn't shock me if they put him on ice a little bit, just because there's no need in completely burning him out and potentially like ruining his preseason for next year or something. So I could see his minutes drop down from 80 to 60 odd, which I believe is what happened on the weekend. But nonetheless, he's still a hold. Like, he's still a fucking freak. And, if there are any injuries in the Tigers pack, he can just play 80 and probably fucking score a 90. Like, almost all of it in base as well. So he's definitely someone you keep. You don't need to be concerned about him at all. A few outs for the Copy Captains this week. So Munster, Pappy, Payne-Haas and Keon and Ruben Garrick were all out. So to put up a 12.93 with those names out is just fucking impressive. And I know that the coach is very happy, but he also wants to make sure we do it for the rest of the year and not just a one-off game. So the Grizzly Raiders, it was just he was off to a good start. The Hughes ton kept him right in it, but unfortunately just a shit end. Like Terrell May with his lowest minutes for the year, scoring 57, and you had him captained. That no one really saw that coming, and that is probably just unlucky. So I do feel bad for him in that aspect. Karapani 33 and Ezra Mann with a 23. Those two had the Copy Captain's coach in all sorts. Absolute all sorts. The amount of times Ezra Mann floated the ball over the top to Karapani and it either missed the mark or just good Titans scramble defense was ridiculous. Like, they came this close so many times. And it's just nice to have the Supercoach gods on my side for once. Moving on. That's just a famous win from the Copy Captains, and they're back. Moving on. David's team. It ends up being an 80-odd point win over Bilbo's Mother Hot, but this time of year, you need to be pumping that team, David, and you're not. You had the Mam and Karapani issue as well, which was tough. You didn't get to have a score drop out because you didn't have enough numbers, which is scary. A lot of these players are very similar to guys we've talked about already, so don't need to go too in-depth about the players, but Toby Couchman, still sitting on that bench, what's his value at? 500k. So you do have a move to make there. It'd be interesting to see how many trades you have, but like, you do have moves. You could pair up Couchman and Lucas and pretty much just get a top-level gun in this week, which does make your side scarier, but there's too many retards getting around for your side at the moment, I think. Just too many retards. Like in King Togia, Billy Smith, yeah, he had a ton this week, but it's Billy Smith. Karapani's good. Okay, you have 2 retards running around, but that's too many. Bilbo's Mother Hot. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Like, Hamish Stewart, Clint Gutherson. Gutho's time was up in round 7, and you still have him fucking 12 rounds later. Like, that's, I don't know. He must have some dirt on you or something like that, because there's no reason why he shouldn't be kicked out of the club. I believe, I'll have a look. The only owner of Gutho? Yep, the only owner of Gutho. That's just, yeah, you need to get rid of him. Unless you've given up. If you've given up, then sure. You took a Beau Fermor 66 with your loop. Like, sure. Unless you didn't realise Pappy was out. Maybe you've given up on the year. I assume that's the case. But yeah, David's team with a convincing win. Not as much as he probably would have liked. But it's time to gear up for finals, I think. Best on field knocks off the Cinderella Man. Best on field, out of all the shit sides down the bottom of the ladder, this team is the one I want to face the least. Just because the players in here, they're still good players. Like, there's no genuine, like, why the fuck have you got this guy picks. They're all players that are like, yeah, I can see why you'd get him. You just haven't strung the season together well. So this is a team that, like, honestly, this could be a top scoring team on a random week. Like, if you just nail your captain, the amount of talent you have here can get you a top score. But unfortunately, it's too little too late and your season's over. Cinderella Man, it was fun while it lasted. You made some good trades for a while there, but fucking, there's still some weird people in here. Galvin being dropped was pretty unlucky. The whole Galvin situation is so weird, and I'm not really sure what they're doing there, but yeah, I would be upset with that. Moving on from that, probably, I think that's really all there is to talk about. Like, that's just a bit of a poo slinger, and yeah, it has no relevancy to the ladder. It's just 2 fan favourites going at it, and one humps the other. Moving on to a really irrelevant game. This was the Poo Bowl, the shitter of all shitters. Like, this is one of the worst games I've ever seen. And that was Up the Guts versus Hey Ho Let's Go. And Hey Ho Let's Go, Mick records his 2nd win for the year. Congrats. Tom Dearden with a 62. He always seems to turn up for you. So yeah, like, I don't think anyone really wants to listen to this for any longer than I want to talk about it. Yeah, that's literally all I'm gonna say, because what a poo slinger. All right, moving on to preview for next week. Let's have a look. Real matches. Oh no, not that. Fuck. Sorry, I don't use the computer often for this game, and confusing myself navigating my way through. Where am I? Here. Okay. Round 20. Let's have a look. Butter Bandit versus Waltzing Matildas. I'm going to go the Butter Bandit. I think Kearney's season is over, and he's probably doesn't care as much about it. But, you know, this could be closer than we think. Kearney is capable of upsets, but this is one the Butter Bandit cannot lose. Like, cannot lose. Trenos Titans versus Adam O'Brien. I think the Trenos Titans can bounce back. after 2 really, really poor games. I know I was bagging them before, but they are the probable minor premier. So, yeah, I'm happy to go with the Trenos Titans in a comfortable win there. And if he wins, I think it's going to be hard for Bo to get back into finals. Doggies versus the Bedwetter. I've got the Bedwetter here. I think the Bedwetter is playing, playing for a top 4 spot. I think he really wants it. The double chance really helps in finals, so he really wants it. And I think the Doggies probably are a bit down on morale. They're probably ready for a Bali trip in the off season, and yeah, I think that they've probably given up a little. So the Bedwetter for me. Harry Dogs versus Oakland A's. This, for me, is the most interesting game of the round. I think the Harry Dogs should win. And, this is a bit of a rivalry. Both teams talk a lot of shit about each other. I think the Harry Dogs should get up because, they're second on the ladder. But I also think the Harry Dogs are pretty shit. And I think the Oakland A's are storming home at this back end of the year. So I'm going to tip the Oakland A's because it's going to make Daniel mad. And I know as soon as this gets released, he'll be messaging the chat complaining about it. Him and Trent will probably be having a cry together. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Oakland A's. Next up, definitely another really good game. The Grizzly Raiders versus the Cardi Party. Grizzly Raiders looking to bounce back after a bit of a shock loss. I'm going to go the Cardi Party. I think the Cardi Parties... I really like the Cardi Party to win it all. They were my preseason pick, and I really like the makeup of their team. I think... Yeah. I do like the Cardi Party. Is that no Keon for the Cardi Party? I see. Oh no, there he is. So I'm taking the Cardi Party. Bilbo's Mother Hot versus Don's Dongs. Pretty relevant game. Don't really care. Gonna pick Bilbo's Mother Hot because the Don's Dongs fucking stinks at the moment. Copy Captains versus Best on Field. This game is scary for the Copy Captains. As I mentioned, Best on Field is capable of winning games and putting up big scores. The Copy Captains team is starting to really take shape and is pretty much finished. It looks elite. It looks hot. It looks like it's ready to fuck. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think the Copy Captains will fuck Best on Field. Up the Guts versus David's team. David's team in... by whatever the fuck he wants. Like, this seriously could be a jail time worthy winning here. So, David's team very comfortably. And finally, Hey Ho, Let's Go versus the Cinderella Man. 16th versus 18th. Cinderella Man will fucking pump Hey Ho, Let's Go. And I hope they celebrate a famous win and go on another Bali trip because they deserve it. And they're just a fan favourite. I'm a big fan of this team. So yeah, that's it. I do just quickly want to put a question out for all you coaches. Dan and Trent, you know the answer, so don't answer. So obviously, I've got this sheet here with ownership levels in the league without going through and counting all of them. And I want you to tell me who you think the most owned player in the league is. He is equal most owned. I'll tell you one of them. One of them is Terrell May. That's no surprise. If you didn't have Terrell May, you're an idiot. But take a guess at who the second most owned player in our comp is. He's owned by 17 of the 18 coaches. So 94% of coaches own him in our league. And honestly, it did shock me. I understand it because he's a freak and he's a gun, and I think everyone does need to have him. But it did shock me. I thought that some of the teams down the bottom just wouldn't be aware of his freakishness. And so, yeah, seeing 17 of 18 actually shocked me a bit. So, yeah, tell me who you think it is. But, yeah, that will do me for today. Apologies for having two shit co-hosts that don't turn up. But, you know, as I said, I'm a man of the people. This Supercoach league, particularly the back end stuff, would fall to pieces without me. I get no recognition from it because my two co-hosts just love soaking up all the glory. But yeah, just know that without me, this thing's fucked. So yeah, that will do me. Enjoy your week, and yeah, I will talk to everyone later. Peace.